Let's open with a prayer. I open this service with a prayer, and I open this prayer with what I know to be the most potent words I can speak. Thank you. Thank you for this community of loving and kind souls. Thank you for the peace inside each of us that we know comes from our connection to spirit within. We're grateful for learning about our bodies and how to make life for them better, as they do so much for us. We're grateful for fathers and father figures and all the love and attention they have given us. And we're grateful to commemorate and reflect on Juneteenth and what it means for so many, and how it empowers all of us together. Continuing this prayer, I recognize that there is only one God, known by many names, but still only one. One Father, Mother, Parent, Creator of the one life that is perfect, divine, and complete, and it is my life now and the life of all people, all animals, all nature, everyone, everywhere, here, there, wherever they might be, all of us coming together as one family, united. So from a place of loving each other and admiring our wonderfully creative bodies, I declare our hearts and minds open as we show up here this morning to learn the spiritual principles that form the foundation of our faith, and to trust what we know is true of spirit within, today, tomorrow, and eternally. And so it is. Well, good morning and welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I am Pat Ferguson, your practitioner spiritual director for 2022. Happy Father's Day. Even if you don't have a child of your own yet, then I know that you've been important and a father-like figure to someone, because I've gotten advice from my male friends who have been much younger than me. So if you've done anything like that, you count, and you get to be included in the celebration of all things fatherly. Also today, we reverently observe Juneteenth and recognize it's important to our African-American family and friends. That started 157 years ago and only officially became a national holiday in 2021. But that's even more reason to celebrate. Also today, Vicky will tell us more about the importance of respecting our bodies and how talking to them in a respectful way is so important to how they perform for us. Our bodies really do remember. As is my custom, I open my morning prayers before the service to welcome the day and the new week, and to light the God candle so that it will be shining bright as each one of you enter. I hope it's the first thing you'll notice as you pop into our Zoom room. And welcome you we do, no matter what denomination you came from or were brought up in, or even if this is your first faith experience. All are welcome here. And the most important thing for you to remember is you are welcome here. Join me in saying our mission and vision statement. Our mission statement is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind, and celebrating all paths to God. Our vision statement, a world that honors and respects all people. So, let's get started with our opening song, I Love Myself the Way I Am by Jay Joseph.
Love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So tell the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring. I'll help it grow by loving everything. Myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. Just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am.
I feel and honor every sensation in my body. Welcome Tammy Ellis as our Practitioner of the Week for our spiritual reading and meditation. Tammy?
Good morning, everyone. We have such great themes today to celebrate. And so I'm going to read a couple of readings. The first one is in honor of Juneteenth. And this is a statement read by our previous President Obama to honor Juneteenth. And thank you, Pat, for sending this to me. This is beautiful. On June 19th, 1865, more than 2 years after President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, those who found themselves still enslaved in Galveston, Texas, had their hopes realized and their prayers answered. Contrary to what others had told them, the rumors they had heard were indeed true. The Civil War had ended and they were now free. Nearly a century and a half later, the descendants of slaves and slave owners can commemorate this day together and celebrate the rights and freedoms we all share in this great nation that we all love. This moment also serves as a time for reflection and appreciation, and an opportunity for many people to trace their family's lineage. African Americans helped to build this nation brick by brick and have contributed to her growth in every way, even when rights and liberties were denied to them. Juneteenth is a day for celebration of freedom and family, but also a day that calls us all to rededicate ourselves to the convictions at the heart of our American experiment. And that was in June of 2008 that he read that. What a beautiful way to honor Juneteenth. And this is one of the reasons that I love attending Centers for Spiritual Living, Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, because we honor that all of us are equal. And it's just a wonderful thing to celebrate who each of us are, no matter where we came from, male, female, gender, sexual orientation, just the beautifulness of who each of us are, how wonderful that is, and that each of us is free. And now moving to the topic of really recognizing and honoring the beautiful temple of our bodies that we have, that we get to walk around in and enjoy in life. And sometimes it doesn't feel so good in our bodies. So here's just a couple of readings just to honor the gift of our physical being. Body awareness. This is from Seed Thoughts for Loving Yourself, a day-by-day book, reading book. I listen to the awareness of my body today. My body gives me signals when something is off, within myself, with other people, or in my environment. I slow down when I notice body cues, such as my stomach feeling tight or nauseous, a headache, a pain in my neck, or my palms sweating, knowing these are messages here to decipher. I take deep breaths periodically throughout the day to release tension and stress. This helps me perceive the messages of my body communication. My body speaks to me in metaphor. I pay attention when I experience physical pain or illness, looking for clues telling me what is wrong and what I need. I spend quiet time alone to crack the code of the metaphors of my body symptoms. Sometimes I simply go with the pain and experience it to learn to overcome my fear. I know my body is doing the best it can when it gets ill or is in pain, so I speak kindly to my body and nurture it. I love my body and appreciate it for being such a sensitive instrument, registering my inner conflicts and giving me feedback through metaphor that something is out of balance in my life. And now for today's meditation, if you'd like to just take a few deep breaths in, just breathing in awareness of your body and breathing out any tension or discomfort. Take another nice deep breath in and just let yourself fully relax where you're sitting. Feel the sensations where your body connects with the floor or the surface under you. Start by sensing your head. Sense your forehead, the area around your eyes, your jaw, your facial muscles. And just notice how that feels. If there's any tension or discomfort, just taking a nice deep breath in and letting it relax. I thank my head, my jaw, my mouth for eating, for being able to talk, for my brain for thinking. Thank you, Spirit, for all that my head does. And now I move my awareness to my neck and my shoulders, the large, heavy muscles in the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Noticing any neck tension or discomfort in my neck or shoulders. Just noticing and gently taking a nice deep breath in and releasing any tension or discomfort, allowing that area just to feel at ease. As we take another nice deep breath in, we move our awareness down into our arms, our elbows, fingers, and wrists. And just noticing how that area feels this morning. And again, any discomfort or tension, simply taking a breath and saying to ourselves, relax. And in the next breath we take, moving our awareness to our chest, our solar plexus, our heart area, our whole torso and back. Just noticing the muscles and everything within. And again, any tension there or discomfort, just with a simple few breaths, just saying, relax. And thank you, Spirit, for my neck, for my shoulders, for my back, for holding up my body, the strength of my spine, my muscles, my tendons, everything that helps me move in my torso. And thank you for my heart, for loving deeply and for beating and having beautiful, wonderful circulation throughout my body. And as we take the next breath in, moving our awareness to our stomach, our hips, our middle section, the next middle section of our whole system, our sitting bones. Any discomfort or tension there, we simply again just take a few deep breaths in and just notice and feel that whole area relaxing. Thank you for my stomach digesting food and giving me energy and nutrients. And for my hips, the top part of moving my legs so I can move about the world. And with the next breath in, moving our awareness to our upper legs, our knees, our lower legs. Again, just simply noticing any sensations in our legs. With each breath in, just simply saying the word relax, allowing the mind and the body to be one, listening to each other, and simply relax. And I thank my legs, my knees, all parts of my legs that help me to move from here to there. I'm so grateful for all they do for me every day. And with the next deep breath in, moving our awareness to our feet, our ankles, the soles of our feet, and each of our 10 toes. We work hard all day walking on our feet, and so we thank this area for all they do to move us around the world and keep our balance. So simply noticing any tension or discomfort in our feet, allowing further relaxation. And now as I take our next deep breath in, just simply doing a body scan from head to toe and just saying thank you. Thank you for any healing that's happening now in my body, that healing ramps up and helps to heal anything that's injured or needs more wellness. And I thank my body for any parts that are working really well. They're just comfortable and relaxed, and they're at an optimal energy and function. So I thank you for all parts of my body from head to toe. I am so grateful. And so it is. And now we move to another beautiful song. Pat, do you want to introduce that song?
That song is in honor of Father's Day. Our special music is Daddy's Hands by Holly Dunn.
I remember Daddy's hands folded silently in prayer and reaching out to hold me when I had a nightmare. You could read quite a story in the calluses and lines. Years of work and worry had left their mark behind. I remember Daddy's hands, how they held my mama tight and patted my back for something done right. There are things that I've forgotten that I loved about the man, but I'll always remember the love in Daddy's hands. Daddy's hands were soft and kind when I was crying. Daddy's hands were hard as steel when I'd done wrong. Daddy's hands weren't always gentle, but I've come to understand there was always love in Daddy's hands. I remember Daddy's hands working till they bled, sacrificed unselfishly just to keep us all fed. If I could do things over, I'd live my life again and never take for granted the love in Daddy's hands. Daddy's hands were soft and kind when I was crying. Daddy's hands were hard as steel when I'd done wrong. Daddy's hands weren't always gentle, but I've come to understand there was always love in Daddy's hands. Daddy's hands were soft and kind when I was crying. Daddy's hands were hard as steel when I'd done wrong. Daddy's hands weren't always gentle, but I've come to understand there was always love in Daddy's hands.
I just want to give us a minute to really let that sink in before we even shift into this talk. And I want to say, just for a moment, that for any of us who cannot automatically relate to that song, that is what was intended for you. And so perhaps reflecting on what you've seen and felt just now, realizing that that can be your chosen story. I am Vicky Jeter, your presenter for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Sunday this morning. And it is so much my pleasure to have this opportunity. Every week this month, we are exploring everyday wonder through the body. And this week, I am delighted to talk about how our bodies remember. This is one of my favorite topics because the body is one of the most consistent places where spiritual life and human experience meet on a consistent basis. Becoming aware of how our bodies remember is a big part of the power of our own storytelling. Telling your stories as you understand them now, and then retelling your stories in the ways that you prefer them to be, can transform your life. And your body holds the original story. And what I was just suggesting about the song, that's like an opportunity to retell that story. Now we're going to look briefly at 4 different ways the body remembers, and then we're going to explore how you can work with this awareness to create experience you choose in every area of your life. As we talk about these, keep in mind that what's here is just a start. I have a few resources included where you can learn more, and any of this that brings up questions for you, please don't be shy about asking your questions, because this is a broad and rich topic, and just about anybody could have just about any question depending on how it strikes you. So here are the 4 different types of body memory. We're going to talk about each one briefly, distinctly, but they all work together in miraculous harmony. Each of these plays some part in how the body holds stress that piles up, we talked about in the first week. And so we're also going to revisit some of the ways you can relieve your body of stress. First, space and time sequencing in the brain. Second, cellular memory, and that's in each and every cell of your body. Third, muscle memory, which is through repetitive body movements. And 4, perhaps the most fascinating of all, is immune system memory. Now, it may seem rather strange that none of these indicate specifically a location of life memories, like remembering where we went to kindergarten. In this respect, memory is very much like consciousness. Consciousness doesn't have a specific location because it is everywhere and it's the essence of everything. There is a lot of information out there and research on memory from all kinds of different perspectives, like the ones listed above. But there is no wholly agreed upon definitive answer as to what memory actually is or where it's located. Personally, I believe both spiritual and scientific researchers will ultimately come to settle on realizing that memory is a natural capacity as part of universal consciousness, so that wherever consciousness is expressed, there is the potential for memory. Considering memory through the miraculous process of how the brain produces perceptions of space and time, just imagine for a moment that each of your senses is initially taking in a kaleidoscope of sensory perceptions. Each of your senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch takes in information that is literally random, like thousands of scrambled pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, until they are processed through 2 or 3 very special crossroads in the brain where various areas connect up and put it all together. Then it's stored as memory for future reference. And it's all happening continually in split seconds. Our magnificent brains take all those impressions and create a system in order for us to look at, like this illustration. Go ahead, Vernon, with the first illustration. This comes from what Scott Marcus left us last week, and it shows how we process from thoughts to feelings to actions. Give us just a moment. Do you have the Scott Marcus one?
Oh, is that not right? That one?
Yes,
Oh, that's backwards.
that's okay. It's not sharing.
That's it, right? No.
No.
It's on Monday.
So we're going to pause on a little technical difficulty there. Just imagine, as you well know, your everyday life moves through sequences of our thoughts connected to feelings, connected to how we make our decisions about how we're going to take our actions. There's actually an image of that we had for you, but it's not processing, so we're going to move on. So the next piece is cellular memory, and this is the capacity within living cells to take on impressions from the environment and respond or adapt accordingly. There are specific aspects of cellular memory that all cells have in common, and then there's other aspects of this that are unique to cells depending on what special function they have in your body. The part of the cells that is in common is that almost all types of cells are made mostly of fluid, water. Now, you may have heard or seen the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto of the impacts of various atmospheres and thoughts and feelings on the crystallized structures of water molecules. Now, we also have an image for that. Can you try to reshare the screen?
It's sharing, honey. You're not seeing it because you got on there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Vernon is laughing at me now because you guys probably did see that lovely, lovely image that we had, and you probably see this one as well. So let's just take just half a second to take a look at this image of the crystalline structures. I'm just laughing at myself a little bit. So notice he has images up there, and these are specific research that he did on gratitude and wisdom and truth. And I'm very curious what he did to develop angel energy. But there you see, I love you. And then down at the bottom, you see some of the more challenging ones that don't really have coherency at all. Masaru Emoto discovered that water from clear springs and water that has been exposed to loving words shows brilliant, complex, and colorful snowflake patterns, while water from polluted sources or water exposed to negative thoughts from incomplete asymmetrical patterns with dull colors is what happens when we need support and when things are falling apart. So our physical bodies are made of about 70% water, and our thoughts, words, and consciousness can have a profound implication on our health and well-being individually for the planet. Impressions of thoughts and feelings stored in cells can get activated by similar experiences like the original impressions. When this happens, it's processed through the brain as memory of the original feelings. Now, if you guys look that up, you're not going to find a lot of scientific validation for that, because science really requires, I mean, they're rigorous. They want, absolute proof that this is a case, but from my own experience, I'm confident about sharing this with you because I have had this experience, and this is a true story. And I know that as you guys, some of you have probably experienced this, and so just know that you're being validated. And the more you work with it, the more you find out about it for yourself. Next is muscle memory, which occurs when you've done a movement or a sequence of movements so many times precisely that your body will repeat them without thinking about it. A good example is described in sports when the players say that they're in the zone. They know beyond doubt that they will achieve their intention, such as hitting a basket or making a perfect tennis volley, because their body knows exactly where and how the shot goes with no thought at all. And this last one really tickles me, this fourth type of memory, because this caught me so by surprise, and that is immune system memory. Now, in one way, this makes perfect sense because it's a no-brainer. But then when you really think about what this means the body is doing, it is beyond amazing. We've all heard many times that exposure to a bacteria or a virus will inspire the body to create antibodies to that foreign agent. Somehow, I always thought the necessary antibodies against intruders just float around in the bloodstream, and that's it. But no. In addition to that, tiny signature blueprints of necessary antibodies that might be needed in the future are stored in a specially designed way in the gut. Then, the instant a remembered potential infectious agent is detected, the immune system in the gut is activated, and a biochemical message, very much like an email, is sent to every cell in the body, signaling that production of a particular antibody is necessary. Through this global messaging, every cell in the body knows its role in the necessary immune response simultaneously. You can learn more about all of this. There's a website called pubmed.gov, and then it has thousands and thousands of research studies. You can look up just about anything. So now, moving into how a stronger relationship with our bodies transforms our experience of life, let's start with a perspective from Science of Mind. In March this year, during the Sunday message, Playing Together, we talked about the reciprocal relationship between spirit and our human selves. We said, Science of Mind teaches us that we live in a continuous reciprocal relationship between universal spirit and our individual human experience. This extends to our relationships every day as well. Reciprocal relationship means that agreements and investments between parties are mutual and go both ways. This is a powerful application of spiritual principle. The quality I'm giving is the quality I'm going to receive. And that was from March the 4th. The exact same principle applies to the reciprocal relationship between you and your body. We have wonderfully creative minds and wonderfully responsive bodies. We also have wonderful creative bodies and wonderful responsive minds, as the two are always acting in reciprocal dance with one another. In affirmative prayer, we often focus on the top-down causation, which is to say from spirit into form, using the mind to influence and affect the body. What we often forget is that the body is responding to everything we do with our minds, ranging from when we suppress our emotions or experience trauma to when we express joy and celebration. We participate in this creative process both from spirit into body and from body into spirit. When there is a feeling of mutual cooperation in the relationship between your body and you, and between spirit and you, every aspiration, every inspiration you have can be co-created through you. So, delving into what we can do with this awareness, I want to start by recommending a wonderful book by Bessel van der Kolk, and we will put that name somewhere so you don't have to try to figure out Bessel van der Kolk. He is Eastern European, wonderful man. The Body Keeps the Score is the title of the book, and it is all about our body's registering everything and how we can benefit from it. During our first Sunday in June, we touched on ways that the body will take on and hold our stress and difficult experiences in life that we have not been able to process. We talked a little bit about this practice of unpacking stressful thoughts and feelings at the end of the day when you can, but often there's more involved than just the day's events, and it's about our families, our friends, and the larger communities we're a part of. So, healing and health, learning to feel our feelings and releasing old or stuck emotions and sensations doesn't happen overnight. Often, we're tempted to think of healing and growth as linear and binary. Like, I used to have that trauma, but I processed it, so I'm done. This is not the way any growth happens, and health through a harmonious mind-body relationship isn't as simple as just yes or no. There's a whole spectrum of health, and the path through healing means looking at our experiences and healing our stories in new and different ways over and over again. Compassion is a cornerstone key to every aspect of this journey. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for everyone involved as much as possible. So when you run into pieces that feel like you don't have any room for compassion, that's a really good signal that additional support might be warranted. It may be that there's a story there that you have to tell and honor and clear up. And once we find a safe place and a powerful way in receptivity to tell our experience, then we can begin to explore how to rewrite the end of the story in a way that met our original needs. Having the feeling that original needs have been met is a great way to be ready to let go of something we've been hanging on to. So I have a brief personal example of this that shows this all together. In my early 20s, I was steeped in the belief that my experience of disability walking meant that there was something wrong with my legs. Plus, my legs were at the center of so many of my stories of pain and the surgeries and not feeling liked by many kids that I knew who might have been friends, but weren't because they didn't understand me. So all through the time I was a little girl, up until this time in my life in my 20s, I was not nice to my legs at all. Thank God I started on the path of becoming more conscious about this time, and I found a therapist who one day suggested to me that I have a little conversation with my legs. Well, this just gave me the giggles. It sounded like the most absurd thing I'd ever heard. But I trusted this man, so I got comfortable, and he started a guided meditation where he literally introduced me to my right leg and to my left leg. Then all he did is suggest that the two legs have a conversation. Oh my goodness. We are off to the races now. My legs were talking to each other so fast, which I was only monitoring in my brain. I could not keep up. I couldn't have written it down to save my life. My legs were in a passionate argument with each other about whose fault it was for everything I had been blaming them for years. And the most important revelation that came from all this was, there's nothing wrong with my legs at all. There never has been. Physically, the origin of my challenges walking is in my brain, not in my legs. Oh my gosh. When I realized how badly I had been making my legs feel for a lifetime, I mean, every day now, you guys, every day. I wake up in the morning and I look down sitting on the edge of the bed and I greet my legs with compassion and a gentle air of apology for what I had not understood for like 25 years. And once I did understand, I got a whole new and more effective track on learning how to maximize my healing by understanding my brain. This journey has been a one step at a time, gradual process, and oh, so worth it. Likewise, healing the systems that create widespread trauma won't happen immediately, but we can each do our parts to heal ourselves and our societies. Collective trauma, like the imparted centuries of racist structures of oppression, leaves a mark on every single one of us, though some of us are obviously more personally and deeply impacted. Today in the United States is the holiday Juneteenth, the celebration of the emancipation of enslaved persons. And that's across the world, you guys. This challenge that we have that Juneteenth honors, sometimes we hear it say this or that doesn't know, it is not particular. And this challenge that we have, it affects all kinds of people that are not liberated and are not free. And so while Juneteenth may be specific to the United States, across the world, people of color have experienced deep ancestral and personal trauma from which they deserve liberation, as do we all. By healing individual experiences of trauma, we can begin to heal the collective grief and correct oppressive systems. We can't heal what we aren't able or unwilling to look at. A gentle way to begin is just by noticing whatever sensation is in the body and patiently, curiously considering what comes up. This process, while personal to each of us, can also be used to address and begin to correct the systems of oppression that have traumatized countless hearts and minds and souls for several centuries. This week, push through your personal discomfort as you get to know your body and the discomfort that may come from hearing and learning about experiences of people who have been affected by social structures. If you're in the United States, read about Juneteenth and find possibly a service to attend. If you're outside the United States, reflect on the collective trauma of your people held in particular parts of your society and country, and be willing to really hear their voices as we work together for collective liberation. Next week, our guest speaker is Reverend C.C. Coltrane, who will be taking this conversation to the next level of our world body and our universal body. And I'm really very interested to hear how she's going to do that. And now, here are just a few short quotes to wrap us up from The Body Keeps the Score. Healing depends on experiential knowledge. You can be fully in charge of your own life only if you can acknowledge the reality of your body and all its visceral dimensions. And these are all from Bessel van der Kolk. Mindfulness not only makes it possible to survey our internal landscape with compassion and curiosity, but also actively steer us in the right direction for self-care. And he says, as I often tell my students, the two most important phrases in therapy, as in yoga, are notice that and what happens next. Once you start approaching your body with curiosity rather than fear, everything shifts. So this week, have fun getting to know your body in a whole new light. Imagine you are being introduced to your body like a new friend that you're just now getting to know. Notice the questions that come up to ask, and maybe make note of some of them that you might want to research and find out more about. And if you run into some of the stuff your body has stored that you could use some help with, reach out, get the support that you deserve. Our support team at the center if our support team here doesn't have exactly what you need, we will help you get connected to it in spirit. So I just want to advise to take that pausing breath, and in whatever ways this might have resonated for you or caused you questions, just take a breath and make room Let it settle as we turn our attention fully to Spirit in affirmative prayer, recognizing the one love, one law, infinite, eternal, compassionate, peaceful, serene, omniscient. There is nowhere that the love, law, and intelligence of Spirit is not. So that I know that as the all that is all, I am that at the point of first cause where there is no separation. And as this is true of me, it is true of everyone within the sound of my voice. One in mind, heart, and soul. And from this alignment, I realize in my experience of each individual here present and of the community of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living at large, that as the truth is spoken, we are set free. And that whatever is called for to fulfill the original intended pattern of health and rejoicing for each of our lives is accessible to us now, and that what we cannot do on a human level individually of ourselves, we do collectively. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I just release this word knowing that it is evident in all of our lives. And I let it be, and so it is.
Thank you, Vicky. What beautiful thoughts to be kinder in my thoughts to my body, especially when it hurts. And so thank you for that reminder. I'm going to start doing that more. And now we move to our prosperity affirmation. I'll say it first, and then we'll say it all together. My daily life is filled with the peace, power, prosperity, and perfection of spirit. Yes. And now let's say it together. My daily life is filled with the peace, power, prosperity, and perfection of spirit. Yes. I like all those P's in there. And we are so grateful for when you share your prosperity with our center. It keeps our center going and providing support to each other. And so you'll be able to see there in the chat different ways to give. I'm either online or good old snail mail. And I pass it to you, Pat, for the blessing of the gifts.
Thank you, Tammy. Every time I hold up this basket, it is filled with notes and cards that you have sent to us. When I pick up your checks at the post office, I am so grateful for those, and I just want you to know that they mean a lot. One God, one life, one supply. Thank you for being the light from within that halos our talents, time, and treasures, and causes us to understand that the flow of all three from us is the same flow that circles back to us multiplied. We are grateful to be blessed in such way, both as a center and individually. Blessing the gift and the giver, I offer these words to the law that only says yes, and I release them there to become evident. And so it is. Tammy?
And now we move into our announcements. Oh, that's such a beautiful display of flowers. Thank you. I think, Pat, you did that. That's so beautiful. And so next week we look forward to, as Vicky was saying, to Reverend C.C. Coltrane's coming to speak to us on the one body. So that will be, we'll be looking forward to that a lot. And just a reminder that there's another class coming up by Reverend Jesse Jennings. He's the minister in the Houston area in spring at Creative Life Spiritual Center. And so he'll be teaching on a book that he wrote, that he compiled different readings and speaking engagements that Ernest Holmes had given. And those, you can see the dates there, Thursdays, July 7 through 8, or on Fridays. If you would like to attend, you want to tell them, Pat, about that?
Well, I have something I want to add in here real quick. What you said is all perfectly right. But I have been in communication with Reverend James Peak, who is in charge of classes for CSL. And I expressed to him that a lot of our members are on fixed income. And so when you get a price for a class that's a little higher because it's 10 weeks, it would be nice to have a payment plan. So he has said if he will break that down into 1/2 now and 1/2 due at week 4, if you're thinking about it but need to spread that out. And if you need that information, you can't do it online like you would normally do. You have to go directly through him. He's going to take care of it. So if you would like that option, then just let me know and I will put you in touch with him. I'll give you his email.
That is awesome. Thank you for that, Pat. That's a great option. And to the wonderful thing we like to say each week, we say this to ourselves and to each other. And on 3, let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. I think you're magnificent. All you fathers in the world and the rest of us.
Absolutely, you are magnificent. So our closing song, Thank You God for Everything, by Denise Rosier.
I remember walking barefoot with nothing to do. I had everything I needed and no job to go to. I loved birthday candles and Christmas lights. Being so in love, I had no appetite. And the last day at school promising friends were too good to be forgotten. All that meant so much to me. Thank you, God, for everything. I won't forget the year I bought my first place, or the day I gave a brand new life her very own name. I've known the kindness of a stranger and the friends who would love me to the end, and dancing in the rain joyfully when I thought no one else was watching. All that meant so much to me. Thank you, God, for everything. Some things didn't turn out how I planned them, and some of my dreams are real today. What means more than where I ended up are the memories and all the love from all the steps along the way. Even after all the years that I've passed through, I still have these simple truths that I've held on to. Slowing down and taking risks, letting go and no regrets, finding miracles before my eyes, and little blessings in disguise. They taught me more than anything.
She's so cute. You wouldn't invite the queen to come stay a week in your guest room and spend the entire time talking about how ugly the room is. So don't talk to yourself in a way that degrades the magnificent, one-of-a-kind place Spirit calls home, your body. Ending this service as we began, for the collective, I say thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for bodies that respond to our words, and thank you for the lessons provided to us today, reminding us that because of that response, we can heal new and even decades-old traumas with our words and our thoughts. Thank you for helping us push through our personal discomfort as we get to know what most helps our bodies mend. We are so blessed to have this day in our yesterday and all our tomorrows, and blessed in our interconnectedness. We are simply blessed, and we know it, and we appreciate all that we have and all that we are capable of being when we accept who we are and whose we are. As always, we're especially thankful for this philosophy that taught us God is within and we are never separated, not now and not ever. And on these and multiple gratitudes, I lift our words of respect and appreciation and mindfully surrender them to a law that's always says yes, automatically and impartially. And there I release them, and so it is.